So welcome all to this class, to this miracle healing class. I'm really happy that you are here and participating today in this miracle healing intensive class. And I'm really curious how it is for you to do this way. And maybe we can share something about that later on in the second part of the class. So today is quite a packed full of good stuff class. It is the title of it is Healing Certain, and that is of course an interesting question, and that is always something that went through your mind in maybe in the beginning, or maybe still does. Like, does it actually happen? Is healing actually occurring in me, or something else? So this is one thing that we're going to look at today, and using different parts of there's a little piece of Joel, there's a bit of Urtext, there's a bit of this and that, and mainly there's the Miracle Healers Handbook that I'm using today. And so first of all, this is a healing class, and the healing is occurring in this moment when we come together, because the purpose of this is that we are open for healing, for say a correction in that sense, to align ourselves with what is real and what is real about ourselves, losing the ideas that we hold about ourselves and defending maybe, um, and yeah, giving an opportunity for something else to occur to us. So relax, let go of what you think is going on, or where you find yourself, or what you think you're doing, or any of those ideas that you hold. You can drop today in this class, because you will not need them. And there will be some great new ideas coming in the sense of, oh yes, I knew that. um, so in that sense, they are new to you because you already knew them. And so that's even funny with the words too. You knew this already. It is a remembrance. It is, oh yes, of course, this makes so much sense. See, and that is with the fundamental basic part of separation that you have dealt with as a human being, recognizing that, what was I actually thinking? Well, we take a look at that too. What is it that you're actually thinking as a human being? What is disturbing your, say, realignment with the universe? Because that's always something to, yeah, say it's an opportunity to get a different thought about that, to change your mind about what is going on and how that's supposed to look. So that is how we're going to work today. And so yeah, the basic thing is not that we try to learn something here. The basic thing is that we are actually remembering this as part of our totality, as part of the love as which we were created. So it's really entering into that heart again, allowing yourself to come into that full heart, like you can call that your soul, or your completeness, your wholeness, your oneness. That's where this remembrance takes place, and that is where you, say, reassemble with. That's where you become whole again in, and that is based on your source, which is love. So that's where it comes back to too. So it's not that we're trying to do something mental or trying to analyze the death out of something, not at all. So this is returning home, returning to the heart of you, returning to the soul of you. Like, this soul is in perfect communication. You want to experience that because you don't want to be like separated or living in a state of separation from your soul. No, you want to live directly from that. And so all kinds of um, say um, yeah, it's not a method, but all kinds of information is coming to you today in a way that is actually helping you to return back home into the heart of you. And of course, that feels familiar because you know your heart very well and you have experiences of being there, being in a loving, um, say, space where you feel complete and whole. That is very familiar to you. So that's where we're referring to, and that is where we are coming back to in the healing that takes place. So the healing certain? So that is the question. So I'm not diving directly into the text of the Miracle Healers Handbook, but I want to first go to the say the part of the Urtext which reads. I'm going to read some lines out of that because it is really fundamental what is being presented in how you have used projection as a human being, putting something outside of yourself. And Jesus, as well as Joel, and also Master Teacher, of course, is also referring to there is nothing outside your consciousness. There's nothing happening outside of you. So you projected it outward, but that there's nothing there. So the reflections you get back to yourself are not based on anything, in the sense when you project your fear, you literally project it on nothing and it will come back to you and you will have to deal with that again, not anyone else. Even though that can appear a drama and what Joel called the mesmerism, or the real delusion of what you think is going on. So here in this part of the Urtext, it is really sweet the way this is being looked at, and very clear in, say, it's stating 4 points of distortion, so to speak, which you are so used to that when I read it, you will say like, oh my God, you're right. It's amazing. So this is why this came to me to share with you today, because I'm not planning anything like this. Like in this class, I don't plan anything. It's just in the last half hour before everything falls into place. Suddenly my printer works again and I can print some material that was actually totally to the point. And this is how I use it. So it's quite spontaneous altogether how this class comes about. And I'm really happy that you're part of that adventure that is literally as a gift given to us in this present moment. So this is from chapter 2, The Illusion of Separation. Whenever projection in its inappropriate sense is utilized, it always implies that some emptiness or lack of everything must exist. And it is within man's ability to put his own ideas there instead of the truth. If you will consider carefully what this entails, the following will become quite apparent. So these are the illusions of separation. First, the assumption is implicit that what God has created can be changed by the mind of man. You know, so you think there's a possibility that what God has created can change. It can change from health to sickness. It can change from perfection to something that's lacking something. You know, this is what you think as a human being. This is what you think and what you project outwards. And that's not really like, yeah, it's not acceptable to you, in fact, because it's constant the conflict. You don't like to see that, and that's why you put it out there. So this is the first assumption. So there are 4 of them, so bear with me. The second concept, that what is perfect can be rendered imperfect or wanting, is intruded. The concept that what is perfect can be rendered imperfect. So see, this is another one. Aha, yes, of course. This is what you think as a human being, that something can be imperfect. Third, the belief that man can distort the creations of God, including himself, has arisen and is tolerated. So you actually accept the idea that man can distort the creations of God, and that has arisen and is tolerated. It is tolerated. It is accepted by you that that's an option even. So the fourth part of this is, since man can create himself, the direction of his own creation is up to him. That since man can create himself, the direction of his own creation is up to him. The direction of his own creation is up to him. See, that's another one. And this fourth one is very popular. You know, it's very popular. Like, yeah, I'm a self-made man. I can do whatever I want. The direction of that is totally up to me, because if I don't decide to do it this way, then nobody can do it my way. Something like that. So these are four, say, things that you have accepted for yourself as a human being that you think is possible, and you actually tolerate that continuously without question, mostly without question. Not that you like it, but you accept it. That's amazing. See, and these are the basics of the way that you perceive, which is amazing. So that is where the healing can occur. That's where that's where you have to go back to. I have to give this away. I have to not use this. I have to literally question that for myself, that is not normal what I'm doing. Look at that. I believe that there's such thing as imperfection. I believe that there's something as I can direct my own way. I know where I have to go. I think I know that. So that's another thing. It's like that was the fourth point. See, and these are all literally, if you really take a good look at it, it is like these are the holy ideas, sort of holy quote unquote ideas of the humans, of the human mind. These are treasures of us that we have defended and that we use continuously to manipulate our own world and think that that's okay. See, and now it's not to bring you into the idea of guilt. No, it's really just as an eye opener that I'm presenting this. It's like it's unbelievable to see what you actually have been thinking. And these are just four examples of that. Four real, say, intense distortions that you have tolerated and accepted for yourself. Amazing, isn't it? So I think it's amazing to read this and to have this so clearly stated here. And that's why I love to share it with you, because it can be totally helpful to open yourself up to the point where you see like, oh my God, what I've been thinking. What have I been thinking? Of course I was not happy. Of course I could not continue growing and extending and feeling well about what is going on, because I had crazy ideas in my mind, literally. I really didn't know what to do with myself, and I really didn't know how to look at myself even. I have accepted so many things that were not true, and that are actually hurting me on a day-by-day basis. So luckily, there's such thing as a possibility to be healed. So, is healing certain? That's continually the question. Is healing certain? See, if you see it like this, of course this can be corrected because it has no reality. So illusions need to be brought to truth in that sense. And it is not that you have to bring them to truth. No, you have to let go of these ideas, thinking that that is defining you as a being created by God. See, and then the healing that can take place is the return back into your perfection, the returning back into the light and love that you are. And that starts to make perfect sense then, even intellectually. So then to go through these, literally go through the feelings and the ties that you have connected to these ideas is then what the transformation is, and where you start to feel that you have to let go of it, and that you see that you're in pain using these ideas continuously against yourself. And now, since you have heard this, it will do something with you, that you become aware, like, oh my God, look, here's another one of those examples that I'm actually using against myself, thinking that that's totally normal to do it like this. And why would I want to hold on to that if there's an alternative? Not that I know what that is at this point, but see, there's one who knows, and I can at least ask. I can ask for a change of mind. I can ask for this miracle to happen to me. So that is one of the basic ideas I want to lay down today. So the other meetings that we had, we also started with the miracle principles, and these are also very lovely to bring in at this point, because you will see immediately the different nature of them and the possibility of a change of mind for you, in which you actually receive all the help that you need to get out of this limitation idea that you tolerate. A miracle is a universal blessing from God through me to all my brothers. It is the privilege of the forgiven to forgive. Miracles are natural signs of forgiveness. Through miracles, you accept God's forgiveness by extending it to others. Miracles praise God through you. They praise Him by honoring His creations, affirming their perfection. They heal because they deny body identification and affirm spirit identification. So here's something also very fundamental being presented. They praise Him by honoring His creations. So, and it's like, that's the way to project. If you want to project something onto your brother, project that perfection, affirm that perfection instead of attacking its incompletedness. So there are two ways of projecting in that sense, and one is a healthy one, which is extension of the love that you are to your brother, recognizing his wholeness, his oneness. And so that is a beautiful example of how the miracle works in that sense. It is a natural sign of forgiveness. And they praise God by honoring His creations, affirming their perfection. They heal because they deny body identification and affirm spirit identification. And you might say, like, why is that so different than body identification or spirit identification? It's like, well, the body as you perceive it is a very limited definition of your brother. To see him as a body would be an absolute minimal way of thinking about him, because you know that he represents all of you. He represents the being part of the waves of the ocean, so to speak, being part of this oneness principle, which you are a whole part of too. Like, he's connected with you into every fiber of his being. So to see him as a limited, defined body identification is a total, say, minimal definition of your brother. So to see that you were created by the same source is recognizing each other as the true nature that you recognize for yourself in your brother. See, and then we're talking about forgiveness, and that's literally forgetting all these ideas that you hold against your brother, and seeing that nothing happened, that the pureness of being, that the wholeness of your brother is representing your wholeness. And recognizing that you literally project all the love that you are onto him. A miracle is a correction introduced into false thinking by me. It acts as a catalyst, breaking up erroneous perception and reorganizing it properly. This places you under the atonement principle, where perception is healed. Until this has occurred, knowledge of the divine order is impossible. Miracles honor you because you are lovable. They dispel illusions about yourself and perceive the light in you. They thus atone for your errors by freeing you from your nightmares, by releasing your mind from the imprisonment of your illusions. They restore your sanity. See, and with that, what I just read, with the 4 parts of, say, the basics of illusion, or the basics of separation, if you want, it makes total sense. Like the miracle then becomes actually something that you can, like, yes, of course, if I restore, say, come into a different perspective about myself by not accepting these limitations for myself anymore and not projecting it on my brother and confirming that, but instead of that, extending the love that I am, that I recognize as me, so to speak, and extend that onto my brother, I actually am performing miracles. So we read before too, it's like everything that comes from love is a miracle. And that is more like, this is the way that we can be as one. This is the only way that we can recognize each other as one. And that is so great. That is what's so great about this all coming together as a total gift to yourself. So I think that's so great how this all works together, how this all is supporting and what is given us in this class. You can't believe what it actually is presenting to you, and how easy, like how simple that's being made to take a look at that. And that's amazing how that works. I love that. The question, is healing certain? See, and you feel when I start to ask this question, is healing certain? You start to feel the growing certainty of that healing while I'm talking. Isn't that amazing? It's like you actually come into the recognition of the certainty of that healing, so that the whole question becomes obsolete. But we will start to read the paragraph anyway. Yeah, now listen carefully. Is healing certain? Healing is always certain. It is impossible to let illusions be brought to truth and keep the illusions. Truth demonstrates illusions have no value. The teacher of God has seen the correction of his error in the mind of the patient, recognizing it for what it is. Having accepted the atonement for himself, or the atonement for himself, he has also accepted it for the patient. So let's stop right here. So the accepting the atonement for yourself is then really like allowing that undoing of what you thought you were, letting that go, letting these, say, opening yourself up to confirm the reality of your brother instead of the illusions that you hold about him, trying to attack him with limited ideas that you want to project on him. So accepting the atonement for yourself then is to allow this undoing to come to you, seeing that you don't want to use that anymore against yourself or your brother. See, and that is actually a very emotional process. It's literally, you give up the attack upon yourself. Oh my God, that is so good to feel that. It's like you start to release that attack. You literally put down your arms in order to just be the truth that you are, instead of this say, when you start to attack, so maybe this is clear, when you start to attack, you always feel the emptiness of your action. You feel that it's like sticking on you and you want to get rid of it, but you don't really know how. It doesn't feel good. It feels always contracted and say limited, and you get stuck in it in a sense. And so to have that being changed for yourself and allowing yourself the space for something new to happen, so that you can come into the say a whole different experience of yourself in that, is what is accepting the atonement or the atonement for you is. Allowing that undoing to occur to you, stopping with the habit to attack, or stopping with the habit to attack yourself, or say these 4 principles that I just read, letting them come into you literally, like, oh my God, look at what I've been doing. Oh, I really would love to make that good with myself and others, to have that cleaned out, literally to have that purified, so that I don't have to walk around with that habit anymore, to pick up these limited ideas to attack my brother. So here's a question. Yet, what if a patient uses sickness as a way of life, believing healing is the way to death? When this is so, a sudden healing might precipitate intense depression and a sense of loss so deep that the patient might even try to destroy himself. Having nothing to live for, he may ask for death. So healing must wait for his protection. So to stop here too for a moment, it's like you don't know, and I brought this up the last time we were together too. It's like you don't know when this miracle literally is going to be performed, when it has to be performed. So you'll have to come into contact with, say, a whole mind that knows the whole plan. And so to ask Jesus for that, it would be the appropriate step to take. It's like, do you want me to perform this? Do you want me to extend this to my brother? Or do I have to be, say, available in a different way? Because you never know. You cannot tell how the plan is for salvation. You don't know how this all works for everyone individually. So what is it that you can extend? You will have to ask for direction in that, and which is very lovely. It is not a limitation at all. Now it's like that guidance is also a confirmation for you that you don't have to be occupied with, should I do that or not, or all of that. Like, you don't have to occupy your mind with that, but you can rest in the certainty that that is going to be given to you. It will be so clear, and you will be instructed how to do that. Healing will always stand aside when it would be seen as a threat. The instant it is welcome, it is there. Where healing has been given, it will be received. And what is time before the gifts of God? Like, if God is, say, the timelessness itself, like it has nothing to do with time, what does it matter when it's going to be accepted? Like, you don't have to be concerned with that. What I've referred many times in your course to the storehouse of treasures laid up equally for the giver and the receiver of God's gift. Not one is lost, for they can but increase. No teacher of God should feel disappointed if he has offered healing and it does not appear to have been received. It is not up to him to judge when his gift should be accepted. Let him be certain it has been received and trust it will be accepted when it is recognized as a blessing and not as a curse. See, that's crucial too. So it's like that's not up to you. You just see talking about healing or extending the miracle, say literally projecting the love instead of the limitation, is what can be say that you can be certain about what you give. So not being occupied with, is it working? Is it not working? Is that's unnecessary to occupy your mind with that. But it can be very, yeah, it's very common to have that kind of doubt, and that's okay too. It is not wrong or anything. No, it's just this is where you find yourself and you have that consideration. That's all right. It will change too. You will see how well this works. It works so much better than you think. So you can be certain about giving this wholeness to your brother, confirming his totality, confirming his wholeness, literally, and in any way that you can. It really does not matter. Is actually, say, to start, for starters, you could just start with the idea of not confirming his unreality. That would already be a true empathy, like not going into the illusion that he comes to you with. It can already be a great help. And to stay right there instead of diving with him in his dream of sickness or in his dream of limitation or in his dream of pain, but staying right on the edge of that and not confirming that as a reality, but still being there completely for him because of the love that you extend in that moment. So in this, you get plenty of opportunities in a day, in one day. You get plenty of opportunities to practice this and to actually see that the confirmation of you giving this is changing everything. Like you really feel that you're being constructing in every moment when you start to practice this. And that idea of constructing is really the creation that is taking place through you. So that's really what the miracle worker does in that sense. So that's how practical this is too. So it's not mystical in that sense. It is not, it is not mystical. It's very practical. But in that sense, it is you. It is an opportunity for you to step in that fully and use it more and more and more, because in the application, in the action of it, you will perceive it. You will see how that works. So that's so great. So I love to share this with you. I'm really happy that we come together like this. And so I posted this part of Joel and I sent it to many of us too, about the, let me see, I have it here. It is called Successful in Spiritual Healing. It's day 10 of the 40 days to resurrection. Anyway, so in chapter 3 of the one of the latter books, like The Heart of Mysticism from 1958, The Practice of Spiritual Healing, Joel says something that is also completely related to this. And he says it, of course, in his own way, and I love to read that too. So that's why I bring this in at this point. To be successful in spiritual healing, it is necessary to come out and be separate, to adopt a clear principle from which there is no deviation. In order to be free and to free others, you must know the nature of spiritual healing. The correct premise for healing is that God constitutes individual being, individual you, and me. God constitutes your being and mine, and there's nothing which can defile that pure spiritual being. See, there's the four principles that we just read and say as the basis of separation. You see that back. No, there cannot be any change of that perfection. So I'll repeat that again because I love this. The correct premise for healing is that God constitutes individual being, individual you and me. God constitutes your being and mine. And there's nothing which can defile that pure spiritual being. There is no cause save one. Hear, O Israel, the Lord of our God is one Lord. Spiritual healing cannot be based on the fact that there is something to be removed, and that in order to remove it, you must find its cause and then get rid of its effects. See, and this is exactly what I was sharing with you too. It's like it's impossible to add something to perfection. Perfection is perfect. It doesn't need any correction. It doesn't need anything to be added onto it. Not at all, like it's whole by nature. So I thought it was a lovely part too, in which Joel uses actually the words and brings that in too as a whole principle of healing. He uses it that way in order to extend that to you, to project it literally onto you, for you to accept for yourself. See, because the miracle then is like if you accept this, the giver and receiver receive the same gift in that moment, because suddenly you feel that it starts to communicate. Suddenly you feel, oh my God, we are one. It's so great to have these illusions be moved aside, literally see them dissolve, and see that we are one, and coming into this experience of that, coming into experience of communication where we feel that we are one and that we're so inseparable that it's just mind-blowing, literally. Let me see. So now I go back to the Miracle Healers Handbook and I have to find where I left off. Oh yeah, so it's not the function of God's teachers to evaluate the outcome of their gifts. It is merely their function to give them. Once they have done that, they also have given the outcome, for that is part of the gift. No one can give if he is concerned with the result of giving. That is a limitation on the giving itself. And neither the giver nor the receiver would have the gift. Trust is an essential part of giving. In fact, it is the part that makes sharing possible. The part that guarantees the giver will not lose, but only gain. Who gives a gift and then remains with it, to be sure it is used as the giver deems appropriate? Who gives a gift and then remains with it, to be sure it is used as the giver seems appropriate? Such is not giving, but imprisoning. It is the relinquishing of all concerns about the gift that makes it truly given. And it is trust that makes true giving possible. Healing is the change of mind that the Holy Spirit in the patient's mind is seeking for him. And it is the Holy Spirit in the mind of the giver who gives the gift to him. How can it be lost? How can it be ineffectual? How can it be wasted? God's treasure house can never be empty. And if one gift is missing, it would not be full. Yet its fullness is guaranteed by God. What concern then can a teacher of God have about what becomes of his gift? Given by God to God, who in this holy exchange can receive less than everything? So the mind-blowing idea of wholeness, isn't it? It's like wholeness and perfection. Wholeness is whole. There are no holes in wholeness. It's also part of the Urtext. It's like there are no holes in wholeness. Like there, a treasure house with miracles is full. Otherwise, it would not be full. It would not be whole. So it's not missing anything, and it's completely certain. See, that idea is actually alien to us as a human being, to the idea that something is completely whole, and if you give it, it is still whole. It doesn't miss anything. It's not, nothing is taken out of it. Like nothing is missing when you give that. It's not that you lose something by giving that. No, it will become more in both of us. You know, that is so great about extending the love that you are. That's why I keep repeating that too in the classes, because my own experience is that there's so many opportunities to do that. And if you start doing that, you really feel that something is growing. Like I said, it's like it's a creative process. It is literally using the creative mind of your being and seeing that you are extending that just as the creator that you are is doing that. So you are inspired by your creator to be like your creator in that sense. And that is so easy to experience. That is the invitation of today. It's like it's so easy to experience that by just applying that. So by not, for instance, not confirming limitation or separation to anyone, by just doing that for half an hour or doing that for a longer time, just to practice that, just to see how well that works. That if you have a conversation with someone, that you suddenly start to remember that and apply that, you see immediate changes. It is literally, you feel that you have to get over something yourself, like a little bit of hesitancy. It's like, am I really going to do this? Well, you can try, because what else are you going to extend or project onto your brother? You might as well give him the fullness of it. And see, that's, it is not an invitation to start to teach this, but no, it's more like for you to come into the remembrance that that works that way, and that you can apply that, that there's no situation in which you cannot not apply that. So that is the invitation of today. So use it as homework in that sense, because the application will convince you, not necessarily my words. It's like by the use of it, you see that it really works. And I speak from deep experience. Like I had to get into this too and see what happens. You cannot believe what happens. Really, you can't. You cannot see how much is changing by you doing that. That is the way to go. You know, that is literally the way to go through your transformation and awaken from a dream of limitation and sickness and death. That is the only way. You know, it's literally the way to go with that. Not confirming sickness, not confirming lack and disaster, but knowing that there's something else going on and asking for that to be shown, but not confirming that for yourself, that there is such thing as a limitation. So it's not that you have to be completely preoccupied with that all day long and thinking that that is the way. No, but to apply this actively and see that you get great help with that, that literally the teaching mechanism is in you, that literally your Holy Spirit is holding you back from of making you much aware of that you are doing it, and that a correction can take place. Like you get great help in doing so, and that changes everything. So one of the things that can change too is that the people that are around you, that were used to you in a certain way, suddenly start to respond differently to you. You say exactly the same words, but they interpret it 180 degrees different. That's a very common change that you can see. So that can increase the conflict for a moment, or that can increase the confusion about what is going on. So don't let yourself be stopped by that, by just staying with that, and say allowing this change to occur. Because see, your whole perception, say the fabric of your perception is based on the limited ideas that you had for a moment. So the change in that is also taking place step by step. And so every day is a new chance to start all over again, to choose again to pick this up and use this for yourself. So that is really cool. So I want to bring in something else still, if we have some time left. I don't know. Yeah, we have 2 more minutes. Not that I'm on a tight time schedule. So here, this is from another article that will be available tomorrow. It is from Master Teacher, Stem Cell Miracle Healing, Demonstrating Your Resurrection Capacity with Jesus. It's a very interesting article, derived from a talk, from a video, from some videos, I think it is. So I'll just read 3 paragraphs out of it because of the say what it says. I just want to share that with you. This will now be from the resurrected man of Jesus. The very obvious difficulty within the idea that you're utilizing in your mind, look with me, cannot be the conceptual conflict that you feel, not only in the idea of who you are in reflected ideas, in a reflected light ideas about yourself, but in the retention of repetition of your body idea in order to be this 80-year-old guy. Look at it with me. Now they ask me, and this is kind of exciting procedure, and we're going to make it evident until somewhere perhaps you can see that I'm regenerating my stem cell adult ideas of continuing repetition in ideas of the capacity to convert in a light energy idea about myself, my own body. Okay, so can somebody repeat that one more time, please? So, how am I supposed to listen to this? Well, the way to listen to this is to connect with it. So that sounds maybe pretty weird, but it actually is true. So there's a possibility for you, despite of what is being said, and however much your intellect is being triggered to understand this, there's a way to actually connect with it on a very deep level without really knowing what he says. But you can completely trust what he is sharing, and it's going to do something with you. So that's why I bring this in as a whole different way of listening to what's being said. And actually, it is fundamentally not that different as the way that we come to class. Like yes, we use words, we use the Miracle Healers Handbook, we use the text of Joel, or the Miracle Healers Handbook of the Urtext. I mean, it really does not matter. See, it's not about the words, it's about where is it coming from? Where is it connecting me with? what is being projected onto me literally as a love, complete whole idea of myself. That is what is happening. So however that comes to you, however that is, you let yourself be taken by that. That's really what this is about. So that's why I have to laugh about the way he writes or how he speaks, even, that you have no idea what he's talking about. And it will make total sense in a moment. We're teaching this as the reappearance of Jesus in body form. Now, when you begin to recognize the idea that I am teaching cellular responses within the body, there's an exciting procedure about the possibility that it's going to be true. Yet the efforts by which you are directed to memories of your own mind are constant reminders to the setting by which you have established your limitation within space-time, that you believe that you are that body identity. Now, I'm offering you, listen to me, a continuing active conversion of your body formulation. Listen with me. With positively no regard about the reflection of light by which you want to identify myself as this 80-year-old body. Now, at some point, most of you in your cellular regeneration say, well, whatever you're doing, you must be utilizing a value procedure within your own body. Now, listen to me. The universe, are you listening to me? The universe is mind. Every faculty that you will ever employ in the objective association of conceptual ideas that you have about yourself are what this universe is. I'm representing to you this in a so-called theory of an idea, of a quantum idea, that the continual reproduction of your cellular identity of body will allow you to see me at any moment within the factoring of your space-time, a whole new idea about what you are that will become more and more reasonable to you, very simply because the mere expression of the freedom of the power of light that is yours to associate with, that is at any single moment not connected to your body form. Are you happy to hear that? So that's why I'm going to put it on the website tomorrow. So you can take some time to let this come to you, and it will reveal something to you. I can promise you that. So the way to listen to it or to read it is really to connect with it in a whole different way. So opening yourself up for it, seeing that you can actually receive that frequency yourself and see what that does with you. That's basically what I'm saying. And if you feel like running away from it, do it. That's also possible. Who knows? So that's just the invitation. That's another bit of homework then that I'll give to you in this miracle healing class. So now we come to the end of this class, and I'm so happy with what has occurred in this moment to see that there's so much possibility to apply this in a very practical way that is going to help you immensely in recognizing the truth of you. So it's like, oh my God, look at what is given. Oh, look at how this all comes together. See, and the gift is yours. It is like this house full, storehouse is full of miracles. You only have to accept that for yourself and see that that is true. So that's why this class is is set up for that. And so thank you so much for being in this class, and thank you so much for listening. I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.